Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
An episode of Escape, as it was broadcast 70 years ago today, March 29th, 1953, The Invader, starring Howard McNear? Yeah, he did some serious acting, too. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday, and you know what that means. This is the 29th day of March, 88th day of the year, 277 days until we get to 2024. Swedish colonists established the first settlement in Delaware on this date in 1638, called New Sweden. 1799, New York passed a law aimed at gradually abolishing slavery in the state. In 1806, construction authorized of the Great National Pike, better known as the Cumberland Road, becoming the first U.S. federal highway. 1847, the Mexican-American War, U.S. forces led by General Winfield Scott took Veracruz after a siege. Dr. John Pemberton brewed the first batch of Coca-Cola in a backyard in Atlanta on this date in 1886. In Germany on this date in 1936, dictator Adolf Hitler received 99% of the votes in a referendum to ratify Germany's illegal reoccupation of the Rhineland, receiving 44.5 million votes out of 45.5 million registered voters. In 1933, all political parties and political liberty had been abolished. In 1941, 80% of America's AM radio stations changed frequencies under the terms of the North American Radio Broadcasting Act. Now, in 1951, Ethel and Julius Rosenberg convicted of conspiracy to commit espionage for providing top-secret information to the Soviet Union. In 1961, the 23rd Amendment of the Constitution ratified, allowing residents of Washington, D.C. to vote in presidential elections. In 1971, Lieutenant William Calley convicted of premeditated murder in the My Lai massacre and sentenced to life in prison. A Los Angeles jury on this date in 1971 recommended the death penalty for Charles Manson and 3 female followers.
I broke no laws, not God's law nor man's law. God knows this, the Holy Spirit knows this, and anyone that knows the truth knows this.
Manson died on death row just a few days after his 83rd birthday in 2017. The last U.S. soldiers left South Vietnam on this date in 1973. In 1974, NASA's Mariner 10 became the first space probe to fly by Mercury. It was launched on November 3rd, 1973. Alrighty, in 1992, Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton admitted experimenting in marijuana on MTV, though what some would call a different way.
When I was in England, I experimented with marijuana a time or two, and I didn't like it, and didn't inhale, and never tried it again.
And I'm not saying anything about that. Passing away on this date in history, conductor-arranger Mantovani, the master of beautiful music. Also German composer Karl Orff, lawyer Johnny Cochran.
If it doesn't fit, you must acquit.
Johnny Cochran did get O.J. Simpson off of murder. Cochran passing away in 2005. Also passing away on this date in history, comedian Mitch Hedberg, very funny man. Patty Duke, and Joe Diffie. Patty Duke, who was such a sweetheart. Funny lady, too. Alrighty, born on this date in history, the 10th President of the United States. Do you know who that is? That is John Tyler. Also, Tippy Canoe and Tyler, too. You've heard of that. Also, Pearl Bailey, born on this date. Such a wonderful performer. Businessman Sam Walton, and if he saw what his kids had done to his company, he would be furious today, I think. Actress Eileen Heckert. Jimmy Carter's brother, Billy Carter. and Greek musician and composer Vangelis, who passed away earlier this year, or passed away last year, I should say, at the age of 79. Brazilian singer Astrid Gilberto, the girl from Ipanema, 83 years old today. Actor, writer, composer, you remember his time with Monty Python's Flying Circus. Eric Idle is 80. We have joy, we have fun, we have seasons in the sun. Terry Jacks, who did that song, 79 years old today. Toto's singer Bobby Kimball is 76. He was Mad-Eye Moody in the Harry Potter films. Brendan Gleeson, 68 years old today. From Star Trek The Next Generation, Marina Sirtis is 68. Actress-comedian Amy Sedaris is 62. Model Elle Macpherson still looks gorgeous at 59. And Xena, Lucy Lawless, 55 years old today. Those just a few of the people celebrating birthdays on the 29th day of March. And if this happens to be your birthday...
Hi, we're the Four Freshmen, and we just want to say, Happy birthday to you!
From 70 years ago today, March 29th, 1953, Escape. Howard McNear starring in The Invader. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on this Wednesday on your favorite radio station. Thanks for spending part of your Wednesday with us here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Howard McNear, starring in an episode of Escape. March 29th, 1953, The Invader.
Tired of the everyday grind? Ever dream of a life of romantic adventure? Want to get away from it all? We offer you Escape.
Escape, designed to free you from the four walls of today for a half hour of high adventure.
You are seated before the dials of your radio receiver, listening to a faint voice from the blackness beyond, while the one who speaks with words of friendship is debating the destruction of your world.
Listen now as Escape brings you Michael Gray's exciting story, The Invader.
Here in the Nevada desert, our forward observation post is a slit trench less than 2 miles from ground zero of Operation Doorstep 8A bomb test. The time exactly 30 seconds to H hour. That's the voice of our official guide, Colonel Jim Donovan.
All personnel put on protective glasses and get below trench revetments. We have H hour minus 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There it goes. There it is. You'll hear the sound of the explosion any second now.
Did you see that flash, Commander?
Yes. Check the cyclo gauges for reaction.
Yes, sir. No reaction, zero count. What an extraordinary race.
Very primitive. The main object appears to be to kill each other off at periodic intervals.
I wonder why the Council doesn't order extinction.
There's hope. That's why we've been sent.
But the red zero discs vanished on the same job last Delo. Why waste more lives? The things should be exterminated.
Don't be unscientific. The red zero discs probably disobeyed orders and landed on water.
Water?
Yes, water.
What a place. What do they call those creatures, Commander?
Humans.
Humans? What an odd name.
I'm afraid they're a very odd race.
That you, Al?
Oh, yes, Martha.
I saw the bomb test on television this morning. Did you see it in school?
No, dear.
Oh. Where are you going now?
Into the lab. Call me when dinner's ready, will you, dear? Yeah, let's see.
Albert, I want to talk to you.
Huh?
I said I want to talk to you.
Oh, yes, dear, of course.
I saw Mrs. Warren today.
Yes, dear.
Will you stop messing around and pay attention to what I'm saying?
Yes, dear.
I should merely like to remind you that Mrs. Warren is your school principal's wife. She hinted that he's not pleased with your work. In fact, he's not pleased at all. Albert, did you hear what I said?
Yes, yes, dear.
Come back here. Now, stand still and listen to me. How do you think I feel having the principal's wife laughing at you and laughing at me, too? This is the third job you've had in the past 2 years, and you are going to keep this one. I know it's hard for a scientific genius to settle down teaching 12th grade chemistry, but this time you're going to stick. I mean it, Albert. You're making yourself the laughing stock of the school with your crazy experiments, and it's got to stop. I'm just not going to spend the rest of my life following you around from job to job like a gypsy.
Well, of course, dear. Well, I understand.
You'd better understand. I'm not going to stand for it anymore. And if you're not down for dinner in 5 minutes, there won't be any dinner for you.
Commander? Magnetron's oscillating.
Probably magnetic storms.
No, it's a definite signal on our channel. Perhaps the Council's calling.
Raise and bring it in.
Station MXA calling. Station MXA calling. Station MXA, over and out.
That's not the Council. Check the frequency.
It's the emergency band.
Somebody's playing a joke. Tell them to clear the ether.
Stellar Disk White 0 now. Who's called?
Moment. Ask for code check.
Stellar Disk White 0 now. Give name. Code check.
Station MXA, where are you?
Give me the frequent tone. Listen, MXA. This is Commander of Delta Ship White 0 Null on space mission. Get off this channel. Make a note for the log. We'll report it back to the Council. What was his identification?
Sounded like MXA.
MXA. Check the cyclo listing.
There's no such station listed, Riss.
There must be. Cross-check and fix.
Yes, Riss. No? Absolutely no listing.
Oh, no. It's impossible. Those blundering primates couldn't have the intelligence.
What's primates, Riss?
Humans. It's incredible, but use the Magna Band. We'll keep emergency open. Fix and raise MXA immediately.
Delta Ship White 0 null. Delta Ship White 0 null.
Are you coming down to supper?
Oh, Martha. Martha, it's amazing. I've made contact. I spoke to them.
Spoke to who?
Delta White 0 null. I've checked the station list. There's no such call sign. It means only one thing, Martha. One thing. Space. Men in space. You know what that means,
Oh,
Martha?
stop it. Albert, when are you going to grow up? Your dinner's getting cold.
Commander Delta White 0 null, calling station MXA. Where are you located?
Commander Delta White 0 null. This is station MXA. MXA. I'm located at La Mirada, California.
What planet?
Planet Earth. That's continent of North America. Who are you? Repeat who you are. Over.
Are you humans?
Yes. You aren't...
No, of course not. We're of Epsilon from the race of planetoid Delta.
Delta.
On mission of exploration for the Council.
Council?
The Council of Quantum Major of the Nebulae Ursula. We're arriving in your atmosphere in 2 delos more to examine your planet. We cannot continue this unauthorized contact without permission from the Council. If granted, we will raise contact again at your earliest flight time tomorrow.
Oh, did you hear that, Martha? Did you hear?
Are you or are you not coming down to dinner?
Oh, I've done it. Out there in space is another intelligence, another race. And I've made contact.
For the last time, are you coming down
Martha,
for dinner?
listen, I've made one of the most important discoveries of the century. The first contact with another world, another people, or something. Think what it'll mean for civilization. Think what they'll bring. Maybe a whole new way of life.
It's just another one of those radio amateur friends of yours playing a joke.
No, Martha, that's impossible. The frequency's completely outside the UHF band. No station could even reach the range, much less transmit speech. Oh, yes, tomorrow I can ask questions now. I can find out more.
All right, now, I've stood enough. I've watched you wreck job after job with your silly crackpot ideas. I've been hoping that you'd come to your senses.
But you heard, Martha.
I've put up with this pile of junk long enough. If you don't come to your senses once and for all, I'm through with you.
Oh, but Martha...
I'll give you 5 minutes more to wash and get downstairs, or I'm through Albertana. I mean it. Albert.
Yeah.
Wake up, Albert. It's 7.
Oh, dear. Oh, I'm kind of 7. 7. Oh, yes, of course.
Hurry up and get showered, or you'll be late.
Of course. Oh, I mustn't be late. Oh, my. Let me see now. Early light time. Early light time. Oh, I hope I'm not late.
Where are you going?
He said he'd make contact early, late. Light time. Don't worry about breakfast, dear. Just fix some coffee.
You're getting showered and dressed now. Now, do you hear me? You know what the principal said the last time you were late.
Martha, I'm not going to school.
Yo.
Oh, I can't. Don't you understand, dear? Today I'm going to contact Delta White null. In fact, I'm going to contact him right now.
You mean to tell me that you're risking your job for that crazy...
Oh, Martha, it's not crazy. Nobody on this Earth could have transmitted on that frequency. There's only one explanation.
All right. I can see that there's only one solution to this. And you've asked for it.
Martha, don't. Martha, stop. What are you going to do? Martha!
Get away from that door.
Martha,
By the
please.
time I finish with this place, get out of my way. All you'll need is a broom.
Martha, stop. Stop it, I say, Martha. No, then. You listen to me for a change. For 14 years, I've been teaching sniveling little monsters to blow themselves up for less money than a garbage collector. And for 10 years, I've listened to you nag me out of any sort of manhood. But If you lay one finger on that equipment or come in this room again without my express permission, I'll kill you.
A very intense Howard McNear escape. March 29th, 1953, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll have the news from 70 years ago today coming up following these messages from your favorite station. You're listening to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better, Mike Lindell and MyPillow launching the MyPillow 2.0. Now, when Mike invented MyPillow, it had everything you could want in a pillow. Now, nearly 20 years later, he's discovered a new technology that makes MyPillow even better. Of course, the patented adjustable fill of the original MyPillow, but now with brand new fabric with a temperature-regulating thread, it's the softest, smoothest, and coolest pillow you'll ever own. Say goodbye to tossing and turning and flipping your pillow over in the middle of the night. And more great news on the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer with my promo code Wyatt. MyPillow 2.0 is 100% made in the USA, 10-year warranty, 60-day money-back guarantee. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square to receive the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer. Use my promo code Wyatt or call 1-800-928-4715. Thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We're listening to an episode of Escape, The Invader, starring Howard McNear, as it was broadcast Sunday, March 29th, 1953. In the newspapers of that Sunday 70 years ago, these were some of the headlines. The Reds' offer yesterday to accept the United Nations proposal for an early exchange of sick and wounded Korean War prisoners, a move some sources saw as the first communist step toward approving the principle of voluntary repatriation. The Reds coupled with the offer a bid for resumption of the truce talks, broken off since last fall, over that very issue. General Mark Clark said last night his United Nations command favors reopening the talks if the communist offer is serious and forthright. President Eisenhower and French Premier René Mayer joined yesterday in warning Communist China against making an armistice in Korea to wage aggressive war in Indochina or elsewhere in the Far East. They said such actions would have most serious consequences on efforts at world peace. The warning came by coincidence, American officials said, at a time when Red acceptance of a proposal for exchanging sick and wounded prisoners of war had aroused cautious hope that Korean truce agreement may be a real possibility. President Eisenhower probably will personally pick the next chairman of the Republican National Committee, and Senator Taft, the Republican of Ohio, predicted there won't be any fight over the choice. The chairmanship was vacated by the resignation Friday of C. Wesley Roberts, an early Eisenhower supporter in last year's campaign. A Kansas State Legislative Committee held Roberts was guilty of violating the spirit of the state's lobbying law. Roberts, who got an $11,000 fee in the handling of a hospital sale to the state before he became GOP chairman, charged in his resignation he was the victim of a plot growing out of a fierce faction fight in Kansas state politics. Senator Taft, the Republican of Ohio, said yesterday no fundamental Republican split in foreign policy was represented in 11 GOP votes against President Eisenhower's nomination of Charles E. Chip Bolin as ambassador to Moscow. The Senate confirmed Bolin for 74-13 Friday after bitter criticism by Senator McCarthy, the Republican of Wisconsin, and others concerning the nominee's role as a State Department aide at the 1945 Yalta Conference. Only two Democrats, Senators McCarran of Nevada and Johnson of Colorado, voted against Bolin. Senator Joseph McCarthy, the Republican of Wisconsin, bypassed the Eisenhower administration yesterday and announced that Greek owners of 242 merchant ships have agreed to break off all trade with North Korea and Red China. The agreement, which McCarthy said was negotiated by staff members of the Senate investigating subcommittee, which he heads, created speculation the senator might have infringed upon presidential prerogative. McCarthy said the negotiations were carried out without the State Department or any other agency being informed what was going on, saying, "I didn't want any interference by anyone." Mrs. Leslie Weddington, who in the opinion of a psychiatrist killed her husband in a sleepwalking trance, has been convicted of voluntary manslaughter by a Pike Circuit Court jury. The all-male jury fixed her punishment at 8 years in prison. Mrs. Weddington, on trial for murder, was accused of shooting her husband, Richard Weddington, 42, in the back with a shotgun as he slept at their home near Pikeville, Kentucky, last November 1st. The couple had been married 18 years. And in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, a fine new house for the 7 O'Neill Willis kids, left motherless and homeless by a tornado, went up almost like magic yesterday. Nearly 30 carpenters, plumbers, and electricians put in their weekend time on the job and hope to have the house virtually finished by today. And those were some of the day's top news stories as reported in the newspapers of Sunday, March 29th, 1953. On your radio, Escape, and you'll hear the conclusion next on this Wednesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox right here on your favorite radio station. On Thursday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we'll have an episode of The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe starring Sidney Greenstreet. As it was broadcast 72 years ago, March 30th, 1951, The Case of the Telltale Ribbon. A strange note with $500 leads to a case of poisoning in a very strange household. That's coming up on Thursday's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. But now the conclusion of our Wednesday edition. 70 years ago today, March 29, 1953, Howard McNear starring in an episode of Escape about the Invader.
XA calling Delta White 0 null. Station MXA calling Delta White 0 null.
This is Delta White 0 null to station MXA. Can you read us?
You're coming in loud and clear.
Council authorizes to continue contact. What is your name and function?
My name's Tanner. Albert Tanner. I'm a chemistry teacher at La Mirada High School.
A scientist?
Yes. Well, kind of, in a way.
We too have servants of learning. Did you construct this magnetron channel?
Yes, but I'm afraid it's a bit elementary. I had to use war surplus stuff, and that's never very satisfactory.
Oh. Is there war in your territory at this moment?
Oh, no, Commander. Oh, everything's quite peaceful here.
Good. We're looking for a suitable land space and don't want to arrive in the middle of your hostilities.
You'd be very welcome, Commander. We've plenty of space and open fields all around us here. It'd be a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Tanner.
You're welcome, Commander. Might I ask, what is the position of your planet?
Planetoid Delta is 5 light years behind the summer solstice.
I'm afraid I don't understand that.
In elementary mathematical formulae, its gamma is to the power of epsilon to the 7th vector.
Oh, of course. Yes, of course. Now, how is it we haven't observed your planetoid before? I couldn't find you on any of our star atlases.
We're exactly opposite your sun. This would make observation by ordinary optical instruments impossible. But with our magnetic electroscopes, we're able to filter out the sol rays and observe you perfectly.
I see. Oh, I see, Commander. When do you expect to arrive?
By your time, late in your so-called afternoon. We shall determine that by later contact.
And Commander, might I ask a personal question?
Of course.
What do you, what do you look like?
Like all members of the race Delta of the nebulae Ursula, of course. Is there any other way to look?
Murata Police Department, Sergeant Williams.
This is Mrs. Tanner, 35 Crescent Heights. My husband just made contact with a Delta Zero something in space, and they're going to land this afternoon.
Oh, would you say that a little slower, please?
I said that the men from space are going to land this afternoon. I heard my husband talking to them. You've got to send some policemen out here, because I'm afraid...
Oh, yes, ma'am. Now, take it easy. How did you say your husband got this information?
Through the radio. He got through his radio.
Sure, I understand. These spacemen radioed your husband.
But I keep telling you, I heard them. The door was open. I could hear them very distinctly. Oh, please, you've got to send help.
Yeah, this sounds like a matter for the Army, Mrs. Tanner. Why don't you call them?
Oh, but I don't see why I can't go. Oh, all right. I'll call them. Oh, what's their number? Oh, please, hurry. Tell me.
One moment.
Oh, please, hurry. Are you still there? Please.
It's Murata 4637.
Yes, thank you. I'll call them right away.
Yeah, you do that, Mrs. Tanner.
Yes,
they'll take care of it.
Four, 6, 3. Oh, no. M-I 4, 6, 3, 7. Oh, please, hurry, please. Oh.
U.S. Army, Camp Reynolds.
Can I speak to somebody in charge, please? It's urgent. It's very
What's
urgent.
it about, please?
We're being invaded by Delta White. I mean, it's spaceships that are coming.
Hold the line, please. I'll give you the duty officer.
Are you still there?
Officer of the day, Lieutenant Jacobs.
My name is Mrs. Tanner, Mrs. Halbert Tanner, 35 Crescent Heights. Now, please, you've got to send soldiers out here right away. My husband is talking to them.
Oh, that's interesting, Commander. How long you been in space?
By your time, 5 months. But remember, our speed is twice the speed of light.
Uh-huh. Do you use atomic energy?
Discarded in our bleak age. We use the natural magnetic forces that surround the universe.
What about friction heat caused by your velocity through the atmosphere?
Our speed is adjustable by control of the magnetic fields we ride in. In any case, the disc hull is of traxendium. It's pressured to withstand anything. Anything that is but water.
But water? But everything in nature has water. Even the human body is 80% water.
What? You have water in your body?
Yes, it's in different forms, say such as blood or sweat, but it's still water.
Thank you for warning us.
What's wrong with water?
To humans, apparently nothing. But to our life form, water is a deadly corrosive.
But our atmosphere contains water.
We know, and have sufficient exterior protection for the moisture of your atmosphere. Did you say your habitation was inland?
Yes, you're perfectly safe, sir. We're over 100 miles from the nearest ocean or river. Now, if you will follow my carrier signal down to the landing, you'll be all right.
Thank you, Tanner. I'll report your assistance to the council. Do you think your authorities will object to our visit?
I'm sure they won't, sir. They'll be honored. We'll all be honored.
Listen, young man. I'm neither mad nor is this a joke. Are you or are you not going to help?
Mrs. Tanner, the CO is away for the weekend, and I've got an appointment. Can't it wait till Monday?
Look, either you send help right away, or I'll send a report of your conduct to my congressman with a copy to your commanding general.
Yes, Mrs. Tanner. I'll be over.
trust that human, Commander?
Well, there isn't much option. We've orders to carry out. It's an incredible race, but Tanner seems harmless enough.
We're meeting pressure, Riss.
Probably entering the outer atmosphere. Better start degaussing and settle on his carrier.
2700. 02. No change.
Switch on the water oscillograph.
Oscillograph on.
Variation?
None.
Good. We'd better check again with Tanner until we see ground.
Right away, Riss.
Delta to MXA. Delta to MXA. Over.
MXA 2 Delta, you're in, loud and strong.
We're entering your atmosphere.
I'll check your approach on radar and keep tracking you.
We're going off ether. Leave your channel open.
Yeah, Martha, I thought I told you
This is Lieutenant Jacobs from Camp Reynolds, Albert. I heard you talking to the Delta man, and I was so scared.
Your wife was worried, so she wanted me to come over.
Oh, I see. I suppose she told you a story about men from space?
Well, yes, sir.
Oh, all right. You probably think I'm crazy, but you'll see. They're coming in right now, using my channel as a ground approach. You've been through signal school?
I'm from 27th Signal Corps, sir.
I see. Then you'll recognize the equipment.
There's something wrong, Riss.
Wrong. Reverse the fields, quickly.
There's water.
Tanner.
We're approaching water, Riss.
Tanner, cross-check our position. We have a danger reading.
You're heading straight for us, Commander. You're safe. Why, you're perfectly safe.
Check it again.
There's a great deal of water.
Did you check it again?
Yes, I did. There's a great deal of water, Riss.
Tanner.
A great big body of water.
There's water down there. Tanner, our signals are a danger. Strong danger. Cross-check your fix. Counter-reverse the magnet. It's water. It's water. Masses and masses of water. Tanner, we've hit water. It's an ocean. Help! Help! We're burning! Ah!
Delta? Delta! What's happened?
Cross-check their position, sir. The signal's getting weaker, but your fix is right. It's within 100 yards of this set.
Let's get outside. Maybe it crashed into the fields.
Where is it? There's nothing out there.
But there must be. Maybe it crashed into the trees or... Come on, come on.
Albert! Albert! Look!
I'll read it, sir, but I don't
Go
think
on. Go on.
On Saturday, July 14th at 1400 hours, a telephone call was received from Mrs. Albert Tanner, etc., and so forth. And on going out to the back lot, we could see no sign of the space disk. Our attention was then drawn by Mrs. Tanner to the fish pond from which steam could be seen rising. On inspecting the pond, a small circular object approximately 8 inches in diameter could be seen floating on the surface. On attempting to retrieve the object, it disintegrated as if attacked by a powerful corrosive. End of report.
Well, you forgot about the men inside. You've got to say something about their size.
We never saw them, Mr. Tanner.
Well, what do you do? Don't do that! Well, Lieutenant, you can't
Mr. Tanner, Mr. Tanner, I'm doing this for both of us. If I sent in the report, nobody would believe it. It's better this way.
No! It's the truth! You saw it happen. Why, you know it happened.
The only thing I know is there's no proof. As far as I'm concerned, it didn't happen. I never saw anything. I never heard anything. That's going to be my report, Mr. Tanner. No occurrence. Incident closed. Good afternoon, Mr. Tanner.
Under the direction of Anthony Ellis, Escape has brought you The Invader by Michael Gray, starring Howard McNear. Fay Baker was heard as Martha, with Edgar Barrier as the commander. Featured in the cast were Paul Frees, Peter Leeds, Bill Bissell, and Leroy Leonard. The special music for Escape is composed and conducted by Leith Stevens.
Although Howard McNear played a lot of serious roles, we don't remember him for a lot of those serious roles. Of course, he was early in radio in the 1937-1940 radio serial Speed Gibson of the International Secret Police, ace operator Clint Barlow. McNear did some very good authoritative roles, but he gravitated more toward character roles, many times comic. For example, in CBS Radio's Gunsmoke, McNear portrayed Doc Charles Adams on Gunsmoke, and he portrayed it well. Many times the roles were serious, and many times in that he was comic relief. He did do a lot of other things. He was on Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, a lot, as he was a contract player to CBS for many years. He appeared on the television Gunsmoke in a role there. And he was in Leave It to Beaver as a barber named Andy who gave Wally his first shave. And, of course, probably his best-known role was Floyd Lawson on The Andy Griffith Show. Now, 2 years after he took that role on, he suffered a stroke. He left the series for nearly a year and a half to recover, but Andy Griffith asked him to return, and he couldn't walk or stand, so many times he was on scene seated or standing with support. Howard McNear passing away January 3rd, 1969, as a result of complications from pneumonia caused by a stroke. Escape, March 29th, 1953, on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows on demand 21 hours a week. You can learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links, and you can also buy me a copy. That helps us acquire additional classic radio collections and also helps us in keeping our distribution channels up and running. ClassicRadio.stream. Thank this station, support their advertisers. Tell your friends the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.